Are there any children playing on the park? In the park? At the park? Is there any children? Is there some? Are there? Oh gosh. People, today we're going to be studying there is, there are, some, any, and prepositions of place. In, on, across, near. Hello, I'm Teacher Rod. Come with me. For the first part, I think it's quite easy. There is, there are. Look, we say it is for things. It is a book. That's one, it's singular, right? There are, it's going to be like they are because it's plural. So there is a kid outside and there are some cars, some vehicles outside. Now, the problem here is when we use some and any, right? Usually, we're going to use some for affirmative sentences and any for interrogative and negative sentences. Look, check this out. When we say this, there is some pollution in the air. Now, I'm going to use is because it's pollution, it's singular, and some because it's affirmative. Now, if I transform this into an interrogative sentence, how would it be? Interrogative sentences in English, we always have to change something, change the order, and put the auxiliary verb in front. In this case, I'm going to invert this, and it's going to be, is there, but it's not that simple. Now, I have to change some to, don't I? Think about it. So let's invert. Now, boom, I have a sentence, question. The problem here is now that I have to, it's the same sentence, but I'm going to have to say any. Is there any pollution in the air? Remember, some I'm going to use for affirmative sentences, any for interrogative or negative. So if I say yes, there is some pollution, then I'll go back to some. And if I say it negatively, I live in a very beautiful and a clear skies kind of city in the world, very rare, then you're just going to say, no, there isn't any pollution in the air. Now I'm back to any. Does that make sense? It works the same way for are. If I put this in the plural, if I use the plural, a plural sentence here, plural noun, let me just change this. I'm going to put cars. And now because I have cars, which is a plural noun, I have to use are. Any and some, same rule. Plural, singular, same thing. Are there any cars outside? I could say, are there any cars outside? Yes, there are some cars. No, there aren't any. Does that make sense? Okay, now that we understand there are some and any, let's talk a little bit about prepositions. Look, I can have, and I'm going to put a list here of prepositions of place, in, on, next to, near, close to, across from, opposite, in front of, in back of, behind, between, on the corner of. Look, it's okay if you say this. For example, there is a lot of crime in my city, or there isn't any crime in my city. In, it's because of city. It doesn't have to do with the rest of the sentence. There are some coffee shops next to my house. Next to my house. Around. A good problem that some of my students encounter when they're studying English is this. Let's say you have a street. And here it's the coffee shop, the cafe, Rod's Cafe, let's call it. Cool? And you live here. This is your house. So that's you there, house. And a lot of my students will say, my gosh, this is so bad, sorry. But this is the idea here. If I say, where is the coffee shop? Where is Rod's Cafe? A lot of my students will say, it's in front of my house. Look, you're in front of your house, but the coffee shop, it's across the street, across from your house. Now, do not mistake those two. Don't mix those two together. If it's in front, it's going to be right in front of me. If it's across from, you have to cross the street, cross the park, cross an area. Does that make sense? People, let's do a little challenge. I'm going to give you some exercises here, and you're going to have to complete them with the best option. Let's go? Okay, everybody, so this is a challenge. Choose the correct words. Are you ready? Look, I'm going to give you some options. Are there pubs in this town? Should I say are, any, or some? Are there any pubs in this town? Any, because it's a question. Are, because it's plural. Are there any pubs in this town? Then the answer, no, there aren't, but there are one in Denver. What words are correct? Okay. No, there aren't any, but there are some in Denver. Remember, I was asking the question using the plural noun, pubs. Are there any pubs? Then you just say, no, there aren't. There aren't any, but there are some, not one because it's all plural. There are some in Denver. Does that make sense? Okay, here's question number 2. Remember, I'm going to give you the question. If it's going too fast, you can always pause the video. Check this out. And are there an Italian restaurant near here? Now, it's singular, isn't it? An Italian restaurant. Is there an Italian restaurant near here? Yes, there is or are. It's in front or across from the pub. People, yes, there is, because it's now it's only one, and it's across, and now you know it's a singular sentence because when I answered the second part, it is one. Remember the explanation in the first part of this video? It is, or it's across from the pub, not in front, because in front would be here, across would be the other side. People, how did it go today?